Science and Technology, deemed to be University, Chennai. Today we are going to see the topic is priority interrupt and modes of transfer. It's coming under the Unit 4 in Computer Architecture and Organization. Let's get into the topic. The overview of the sections, we are going to see priority interrupt, types of interrupt. In the types of interrupt, you have two types, that is hardware interrupts and software interrupts. Hardware interrupts, we are going to see the two examples, that is daisy chaining hardware interrupt, parallel priority hardware interrupt. In the software interrupt, we are going to using the polling method. Next topic, it's modes of transfer. In the modes of transfer, we are going to see programmable I/O and interrupt driven I/O or interrupt initiated I/O. Let's get into the topic. Before going to the priority interrupt, you must know what is meant by interrupt. Interrupt is a signal or a condition sent to the processor that interrupts the current process. So whenever interrupt signal is coming to the processor, whatever work is doing to the processor, it's currently stop and execute and service to the interrupt signal first. It may be generated by a hardware device or in the software device. Where this signal will be coming from actually? Where the signal will be coming from actually? From the peripheral device or in the external device or in the hardware device. Otherwise, it is software program also will get the interrupt to the signal. Next, actually, data transfer between the CPU and the peripherals, it's initiated by the CPU, but the CPU cannot start the transfer unless the peripheral is ready to communicate with the CPU. So what is meant by that? Suppose the CPU is doing one work, executing one program. Suddenly the interrupts is coming to the where? From the CPU. So from the peripherals, its interrupt is coming. At the time, peripheral should ready. After that only the CPU will able to send the result to the devices. So peripheral should say, I'm free now, please send the result to my device. Like that, the interrupt signals pass to the CPU. Then only after that only we'll be able to communicate with the CPU. So the next point is, when a device is ready to communicate with the CPU, it generates an interrupt signal. I already said, now I'm free, please give me the result to my device. Like that, the peripheral should interrupt to the CPU. A number of input outputs are attached to the computer and each device is able to generate an interrupt request. So many devices you will connect to the to the CPU, device 1, device 2, device 3. So at the time you will able to get all the devices. From the devices you will get the interrupt. Okay, the main job of the interrupt system is to identify the source of the interrupt. So which devices, the peripherals devices means what? Mouse, printer, keyboards, everything. So which devices you are getting the interrupt to the CPU, they have to check. So that is the main job of the interrupt system, is to identify source of the interrupt. There is also possibility that several devices will request simultaneously for the CPU communication. At the time you will get the more than 3 or 4 devices interrupt signal. So that the case, the interrupt system has to decide which device is to be serviced first. Okay, now you understood what is meant by interrupt. Interrupt is a signal or condition. It's sent to the processor. Okay, it's disturbing one program, disturbing the CPU. It's executing one program, it's stopping suddenly and servicing to the interrupt signal. That is called as it's disturbing the program. Simply we'll say it's disturbing a program. That is called as a interrupt. Next, we'll go to the priority interrupt. Priority interrupt is a system that decides a priority at various devices which generates an interrupt signal at the same time will be serviced by the CPU. The system has authority to decide which conditions are allowed to the interrupt CPU. Okay, suppose the interrupts being serviced some other highest priority. That the case, now I have taken the two examples, that is magnetic disk and keyboard. So actually magnetic disk is high speed, so we'll given as a high priority, but keyboard is slow device, so we'll be having the low priority. Suppose from these two devices, the peripheral devices, we're getting it's sending the interrupt request to the CPU. Which one will be serviced first? Yes, magnetic disk. Why? It is having high priority. Okay, very good. It's having high priority. So that the cases, magnetic disk will be serviced first, then it will come to the keyboards. Okay, it's servicing because it's low priority. The next point, when two or more devices interrupt the computer simultaneously, the computer serves the device with a higher priority first. So the magnetic disk keyboard have taken magnetic disk only, you will have the high priority, that the case is servicing first. Understood? This is the priority interrupt. Next we'll go the types of interrupts. You have two types, that is hardware interrupt and software interrupt. Okay. In the hardware interrupts, when a signal for the processor from external device or hardware. What is in the external device? Yes, peripheral device. Okay, what and all peripheral device? Yes, what and all? Keyboard, then mouse, printer, whatever you want a device you'll able to connect, that and all. Okay, externally, that is external device or hardware device. Otherwise, it is peripheral device. Okay, then this interrupt is known as a hardware interrupt. Based on this hardware interrupt, external device you are getting signal to the processor will be knowing as the hardware interrupt. Let us consider an example. When we press any key on our keyboard to do some action, then this pressing of the key will generate an interrupt signal for the processor to perform certain action. Such interrupt can be, okay, that is called as a what? External device, that is hardware interrupt. In the hardware interrupt, you have two types, maskable interrupt and non-maskable interrupt. Maskable interrupt is what? Okay, it can be delay. Suppose a higher priority servicing the CPU or processor. That the time you're getting one more device, okay, sending the interrupt request to the CPU, it can be delay. Okay, it's not problem if it is waiting me. So the hardware interrupts, it can be delayed. Then much higher priority interrupt occurred at the same time. It can be delay. If it is delay, okay, it's nothing will happen. So, okay, that is called as a maskable interrupt. Next, non-maskable interrupt. The hardware interrupts which cannot be delayed and should be processed by the processor immediately. It should not wait. Okay, whenever the processor is servicing, whenever the non-maskable interrupt is coming, it has to give the attention to the non-maskable interrupt. Okay, the processed by the processor immediately. This is hardware interrupts. Next, software interrupt. The interrupt caused by any internal system of the system is known as software interrupt. Okay, normally it's inside of a computer software problem, anything it's occur, that is software interrupt. This is also will be called as two types. Okay, normal interrupt and exception. Normal interrupt is the interrupts that are caused by software instruction are called normal software interrupts. Exception is, okay, you don't know why this interrupt is coming to the CPU. It's unplanned interrupts. Why? Okay, the CPU executing one program, suddenly its interrupt is coming. Okay, you don't know why this interrupt is coming. It's unplanned interrupt. That is called as the exception, such as division by 0. So now you have seen hardware interrupts and software interrupts. Hardware interrupts means from the peripheral device you're getting the what? Interrupt to the processor. You have maskable interrupt and non-maskable interrupt. Maskable interrupts can be delay. Okay, if it is delay also, it's not a problem. But non-maskable interrupt, it cannot be delay. It's processed by the processor immediately. Then software method, you have normal interrupt and exception. Normal method, normally internal parts, okay, the software interrupts, that is called as a normal interrupt. Exception is unplanned interrupts. Okay, and next we are going to see the example, that is hardware interrupt, daisy chaining priority hardware interrupt. This is the example of daisy chaining priority hardware interrupt. Okay, so we'll see the diagram first, then we'll get into the topic. You will have the device 1. Okay, here's CPU, it's interrupt acknowledgement, and then INT is the interrupt request line. Okay, this is the interrupt request. Then this one is the interrupt acknowledge, it's coming from the CPU. I think you have studied the inter-process arbitration also is the same thing, but its concept also is different. The diagram, everything is different. So don't confuse, okay, while writing the answers for the inter-processor arbitration and priority system. You will have the bus connection, everything over here, but in the daisy chaining priority, that is hardware priority system, it's totally different. So now from the CPU, you will have the interrupt acknowledge line, okay, then interrupt request line, then this one will be in the VAD line. Okay, so now we'll get into the diagram. So now you'll have the device 1, device 2, device 3. Okay, 3 devices are connected. Device 1 is connected, okay, it is the highest priority. It's all the devices, how much device you need to, okay, want to connect, you can able to connect. I have taken the example only the 3 devices. Okay, you want to connect more than 5 devices or 6 devices, you will able to take. This is device 1, device 2, device 3. It's all in the serial connection. Serial connection, you have to connect all the devices in serial connection. How you have to connect? Okay, highest priority first, then second highest priority, then lowest priority. It's like that you have to connect. Okay, device 1 should be, I said the example, the mass, okay, will be having the disk will be in the highest priority. So keyboard will be in the lowest priority. So device 1, the magnetic disk will be connected like that. Okay, based on the priority condition, you will connect it over here. So what is meant by PI? It's priority input. PO is priority output. This is the VAD line, that is vector address line. Okay, suppose whenever any one of the devices from device 1, device 2, device 3, okay, any one of the devices sending interrupt to the okay, CPU, that the time the interrupt request line will be active. Okay, it will be high, the interrupt request. It's commonly connected to the all the devices. It's one line. So interrupt whenever from these 3 devices, okay, interrupt signals giving to the CPU, any one of the, okay, any one of the signals, that then the interrupt request line will be enabled. If it is enabled, the CPU will, okay, it's doing one work. So it come to know the interrupt is coming from the device, any one of the devices. So we have to acknowledge. So the interrupt acknowledge line, it will go to the device 1 only first. Why? It is highest priority. Device 1 we connected highest priority. That's the reason the device 1, okay, it is going to the interrupt acknowledgement first. So next, if it's not sending interrupt, okay, request to the CPU, it will moving on to the device 2. So that the time PO will be normally 0. Whenever it's passing acknowledge to the device 2, PO become 1. So, okay. So now PO become 1 means the device 2 will understand. So interrupt acknowledge is coming from the device 1. So that the case is the device 2, it's checking now whether the interrupt signal, it's okay, interrupt request it's sending to the CPU device 2 or not. Suppose device 2 is sent to the, okay, given to the interrupt request means CPU. So it will go to the VAD line. Through the VAD line to the CPU, the device 2 address alone, it will go and rectify that problems. Okay. If suppose device 2 also is not given the, okay, interrupt request to the CPU, it moving on to the device 3. So PO become 1. Then device 3 it will be moving on. So same thing, if it is not sending, okay, device 3 or it's sending the interrupt through the VAD line, it will be going, it's not sending, so what will happen? The next device, device 4 or device 5, it will be moving on. So okay, understood how this interrupt will be serviced? I think yes. We'll go to the slide now. Okay, a daisy chaining priority interrupt. In this method, all the device, whether they are interrupt source or not, connected in a serial manner. Okay, so now it's connected in a serial manner. See, device 1, device 2, device 3. Means the devices with the highest priority is placed in the first portion. So device 1 will be placed in the highest priority first, which followed by the lowest priority device. All the devices share a common interrupt request line. Okay, all the devices, it's commonly interrupt request line, it is going to CPU. Okay, and the interrupt acknowledge line is daisy chained through the modules. Okay, so the modules will be going to the highest priority first. When devices rise an interrupt, the interrupt request line goes activated. Then the processor, when it sends an out interrupt acknowledge is first, so received by device 1. So whenever its interrupt request is coming from any one of the devices, the interrupt acknowledged will go to the highest priority first, that is device 1. If device 1 does not need service, okay, the interrupt is not giving, okay, so device 1 is not giving interrupt request to the CPU. So that the case, the processor checks whether the device is bending interrupt or initiate interrupt request. If the result is no, then the signal is passed to device 2 by placing in 1 in the PO, that is priority output of the device 1. So if it is not sending, the device 1 is not sending the interrupt request to the CPU, it will be passing on to the device 2. So PO it's normally 0, now it's become 1. Why? It's not sent an interrupt request to the CPU. So that the case is moving on to the device 2, the device should know that interrupt acknowledge is coming to my device. So like that. Understood? So next, if any device needs service, then service is given them by placing first 0 in the PO of device 1, which indicates next lower priority device that acknowledges signal has been blocked. And device have processor response inserting its own interrupt vector address into the data bus for the CPU to use during interrupt cycle. So whenever if you have sent the interrupt to the CPU, okay, that address, that device address should know. So because of that, it is moving on to the next device. Okay, through the VAD line, it is going to CPU. Understood now? What is meant by daisy chaining? Okay, hardware priority system is, we'll move on to the parallel priority interrupt. Okay, first I'll explain the diagram, then move on to the slides. Okay. So here, the extra things from the daisy chaining, the extra things is mask register. You see here, you will have the marks. This is the mask register. This is the interrupt register. So you have two things, master register and interrupt register. So interrupt here also based on the priority wise, it will be connected. So disk will be having the high priority. Then printer will be having the next high priority. Then reader will be in the, okay, after that, then keyboard will be in the lowest priority. It's like that, it will be connected. So then mask register, all the devices are connected through the adder circuit to the priority encoder. You will have I0, I1, I2, I3. I0 will be in the disk, I1 will be in the printer, I2 is the reader, I3 is the keyboard. Okay. After the, why the priority encoder is using 4 input is make it as a 2 output. Okay, I think you studied in the digital system, I think so. So 4 inputs is coming from the adder. So the priority encoder, it will be make it as a 2 output. Okay, it's sending to the VAD line. Why VAD line? Okay, the address will go to the CPU through the VAD lines. Okay, whenever this is the IST, IEN. Okay, IST is the interrupt status and interrupt enable. Whenever sending the interrupt signal through the peripheral device to the CPU, IEN and IEST, okay, IST will be active condition. IEN and IST will be active condition. Whenever it's active condition glowing, okay, then CPU should know, okay, it will be understood. Okay, interrupt is coming from the peripheral device. Peripheral device under what? Disk, printer, reader, okay, keyboard, everything. So now the CPU should acknowledge for that, right? So whatever CPU work is doing, it should stop that and service to the peripheral device. So now it will be checking. So interrupt acknowledge signal, it will go to first disk. Okay. So first it will go to the disk because it's high priority. Then it will be moving on to the printer, reader, keyboard. Suppose it's checking on the disk whether the interrupt is sending the disk, okay, to the CPU. Okay, it will be make it as a 1 through the IO line. It will be 1. So VAD okay, CPU will be that address, it will go and find out the problem. Suppose, okay, disk is not sending the interrupt, printer only it send, okay, send the interrupt request to the CPU. So it will check the interrupt acknowledge, it will go to the, okay, first disk, then it will come to the printer. So it will not check, then it is moving on to the printer. Printer is sended the interrupt request. It will not go to the reader and keyboard, but daisy chaining method, after whether it is okay given the interrupt request or not, everything it will be moving on. But whether interrupt request it's coming from the printer, it will not moving to the reader and keyboard. Okay, why? The, okay, that is this mask register will do. It will be ignored. The mask register will be ignored reader and keyboard. It will be mask. Okay, it's don't care. It will not moving on to the reader and keyboard. Okay, it will be say, okay, checking the highest priority first. Okay, see here, from suppose I1, okay, I0, it's a disk. From the I0 you are getting the interrupt, so I0 will be 1. It will not go to the, okay, remaining. Suppose disk is getting the interrupt, okay, I0 will be 1. I1, I2, I3 it will not moving. Okay, printer, keyboard, okay, reader, it will not moving. Okay, because I0 is sending the interrupt request to the CPU. Suppose printer is sending, okay, to the interrupt. So what will happen? I0 will be 0. It's checking the highest priority first. So I0 will be 0. I1 become 1 because it send the interrupt request. I2, I3 do not move. Okay, using mask register will be ignored that 213. Understood? Then if it is reader send the interrupt, the I2 alone it will be glowing. Okay, it will be checking I0, I1, I2. It send the interrupt record, so it's become 1. I3 do not moving. It's don't care method. Okay, next keyboard. Keyboard it's sending the interrupt to the signal, so that the case last will become I3 become 1, the remaining will be 0. So suppose no interrupt is coming from any of the devices, it's all become 0. Okay, the output also, if any one of the inputs are 1, the output will be 1. If any, okay, so all the inputs are 0, the output is 0. Understood what is my priority interrupt? Okay, daisy chaining method. Okay, if the printer, suppose disk is given the interrupt signal to the interrupt request to the CPU, it will be checking printer, reader, keyboard. That is daisy chaining method. But parallel priority method, okay, first disk highest priority is checking. Disk is sending the interrupt request to the CPU. It will not go to the printer, reader, keyboard. Okay, the marks register will be ignored everything. Okay, that is the advantages of parallel priority interrupt, okay, instead of the daisy chaining method using. So parallel priority interrupt, the parallel priority method uses a register bit separated by the interrupt signal from each device. The priority established according to the position of the bits in the register. In addition to the interrupt register, the circuit may include the mask register, whose purpose to control status of each interrupt request. The mask register can be programmed to disable lower priority interrupt while higher priority device is being serviced. Okay, parallel priority interrupt continuation. It consists of an interrupt register whose individual bits are set by external conditions on cleared by the program instruction. The magnetic disk is being, okay, I said the example, that is magnetic disk is the highest priority. High speed device is given to the highest priority. The printer has to the next priority, followed by the character reader or keyboards. It's coming from the highest to lowest, it will be checking. Okay, the mask register has same number of bits interrupt register. By means of program instruction, it is possible to reset any bit in the mask register. Each interrupt bit is corresponding mask bit are applied and get to produce a 4 inputs to a priority encoder. In this way, the interrupt is recognized only if it is corresponding mask bits is set to by, okay, 1. The priority encoder generates 2 bits of the vector address which is transferred to the CPU. Okay, understood what? Okay, now the parallel priority in hardware interrupt. Okay, we'll see in the daisy chaining priority system. Daisy chaining priority system device, okay, you suppose it will be checking first device 1 interrupt is okay given to the CPU, also it will be checking device 2 and device 3 it's going on. The parallel priority, okay, remaining everything will be ignored. That is the difference between daisy chaining and parallel priority method. So we see in the hardware priority interrupt example, that is parallel priority and daisy chaining. Next, we'll go to the software method, that is polling. In this method, all interrupts are serviced by branching to the same service program. This program, okay, then check each device, same as a daisy chaining method only. But okay, here this is a software method, that is a hardware method. Okay, it's continuously device 1, device 2, device 3. After device 1 highest priority is checking device 2 and device 2 to device 3. It's same way only. Okay, but it's in the software method, that is in the hardware method. In this method, all interrupts are serviced by branching to the same service program. This program then check with each device if it is the one generating the interrupt. The order of checking is determined by the priority that has to be set. The devices having highest priority is checked first, and then devices are checked in descending order of priority. If the device is checked to the generating interrupt, another service program is called, okay, which works specifically for the particular device. Okay, now we studied what is meant by interrupt, priority interrupt. Okay, in the priority interrupt, okay, we'll be seeing two types of interrupt, that is parallel priority, okay, hardware interrupts and software interrupt. Hardware interrupts, two example we have seen, daisy chaining hardware interrupt, then parallel priority hardware interrupt. Okay, then software method, one example we seen, that is polling. I think you understood, okay, all the priority section now, right? Okay, next we're moving on to the modes of transfer. Okay, what is meant by modes of transfer? The data transfer between the user to the CPU. Okay, computer and IO. IO is the user. Okay, computer, that is user to computer. To send the data transfer, we need three techniques, that is programmable IO, interrupt driven or interrupt initiated IO, and direct memory access. I think the Thursday class you have seen the DMA. So I'm going to concentrate programmable IO, interrupt driven IO, or interrupt initiated IO. Okay, let's get into the topic. Before going to the programmable IO, you must know what is meant by input-output interface. You must know what is meant by input-output interface. Input-output interface, the method of transferring information between internal storage such as memory and CPU register. Okay, and external devices. So CPU to user to CPU, how the information is moving on. Okay, that only we are going to see. Peripherals connected. Suppose take as a peripheral this CPU. Okay, peripherals to CPU, we are not able to transfer the data. Okay, we need the communication links for interfacing them. Okay, why we need the communication links here? That only, okay, the major differences to resolve, okay, that is communication link. Okay, input output interface. So we'll see to resolve this major differences, we are using the communication link. What and all that is differences? Now we'll see. Okay, suppose we'll take this a peripheral CPU. Peripherals are electromagnetically or electromagnetic device. Electromechanically or electromagnetic device. But CPU is electronic device. That the case, you're not able to send the data to where CPU, right? Because it's electromechanical or electromagnetic. CPU is an electronic device. So that the case, you're not able to send the peripheral to CPU any data. So you need the communication links in between. That is, communication link is an input-output interface. That is the first difference to resolve. You need the communication links. Why? Peripherals is electromechanical or electromagnetic, but peripherals are electronic device. So you're not okay. Both are different. So you're not able to transfer the data to peripheral to CPU directly. You need one communication line. That is IO. That is input-output interface. That is the first one. The differences. The second difference, the data transfer rate of peripherals is usually slow. It's compared to the CPU. So peripherals will be slow compared to the CPU. CPU will be fast. So that the case also you are not able to send the data, transfer the data both, okay, peripherals to CPU. So you need communication line. That is the second difference. You need one communication line, that is IO, input output interface. The third difference is peripherals are in the codes and CPU will be in the word. So definitely you need one communication links, okay, to transfer the CPU to peripherals to CPU. So these three differences to resolve, we need communication link, input output interface we need. Okay, so now the peripheral, the operating of modes. Peripherals are electromechanically and electromagnetic device, and their manner the operation of the CPU and memory, which are electronic device. Therefore, a conversion signal values may be needed. The second difference, the data transfer rate of peripherals is usually slower than the transfer rate of CPU. Consequently, the synchronization mechanism may be needed. Data will be in the codes and formats in the peripherals, which differ from the word format in the CPU and memory. Okay, again I'm telling the three differences. Peripherals are electromechanical or electromagnetic. Okay, then CPU is a electronic device. So because of this, you need one communication line. The second one is, what is the second difference? What is the second difference? The transfer rate. Transfer rate of his peripheral slow compared to the CPU. CPU is fast, peripherals are slow. So that the case also you need one communication line. The third difference is peripherals are, okay, data is codes format, but okay, peripherals are in the code format and CPU is in the word format. These three difference to resolve, we need input output interface, that is communication link. Understood? The operating modes peripherals are different from each other, must control so as not to disturb an operation of other peripherals are connected to the CPU. So we'll enter into the, okay, programmed IO. It's a modes of transfer. First one is a programmed IO. So what is my programmed IO? This is the diagram of programmed IO. You will have the input output device. What is my input output device? Means peripheral device. Okay, you will have CPU. Peripheral device means user only able to control. So user, this is CPU. So peripheral device. Whenever the peripheral device, it's sending interrupt to the CPU. So okay, each 1 byte only will be able to send. So that the case, the IO bus will be, okay, 1 byte it will be entered. Whenever the IO bit, okay, it will be entered, the data valid line will be enabled. So that, okay, that interrupt is going to the data register. Through the data register, that is the interface circuit, communication line. Okay, data register, the status register, that is flag. You will have F, that is flag bit. F, normally it's 0. Whenever the interrupt is sending to the from the peripheral device to CPU, the flag, okay, bit enable as 1. Okay, it will be 1 here. If it is 1, okay, the data accepted line will be enabled, data valid line will be disabled. Why it is disabling? Because, okay, one more interrupt should not come. So that's the reason the data valid line will be disabled whenever the flag bit is become 1. That there is, okay, that time the data accepted line will be enabled, data valid line will be disabled. Okay. So from this here, whenever the flag register is 1, the CPU will understood, okay, the interrupt is coming. So from the IO read, IO write, okay, based on that, the CPU will be, okay, the interrupts will be serviced. Again, it is coming to the status register. Whenever the interrupt is serviced, the flag register will be become 0. If it is 0, the data accepted line will be disabling, data valid line will be enabling. Okay. So enable, why it is enable? The input output devices, it should not, okay, enter into the next one. So the input output devices, it should not, okay, it will not able to send the one more interrupt to the data valid line. That the case, it is enabling and this is one disabling. Understood the example of programmed IO? So input output devices transfer bytes of data one at a time as they are available. when a byte of data is available, the device, okay, plays into the input output bus and enables a data valid line. Whenever the input output is, okay, byte will be occur, the data valid line will be enabled. Okay, then this interface accepts a byte into the data register. It is in the interface data register. That is also, okay, called as a F flag bit. The device is now disable the data valid line, but it will not transfer another byte until data accept line will be disabled. If it is data acceptor line disabled only, okay, the data valid line it will be sending one more interrupt to the CPU. Okay, if it is in data acceptor line will be enabled, it is not able to send the one more interrupt to the CPU. Okay, ma'am. So the devices now disables the data valid line but will not transfer another byte until data acceptor line is disabled by interface that involves a handshaking procedure. The status register is read the status of the value. Flag bit is analyzed. The flag, okay, if the flag is equal to 1, the CPU reads the data from data register. The flag bit is cleared to the 0, either the CPU or the interface, depending on how the interface circuits are designed. I said already, whenever the flag register it is 1, okay, it's read the data. Okay, CPU reads the data from data register. If it is 0, so it will be think that the interface is not coming from the peripheral device. One flag is clear, interface disables the data acceptor line. So, okay, if it is once the flag register will be cleared, the data acceptor line will be disabled, data valid line will be enabled, can be transferred that next data byte. So next interrupt should give to the data valid line. Understood what is the programmable IO now? The example of programmable IO, it's a modes of transfer, first types. Next, we will go to the operation of programmable IO. It's a flowchart of operation of programmable IO. First, okay, here issue the read command to the IO module. CPU is issuing the read command to the IO module. Okay, so now the CPU given the read command to the IO module. Next, it will come to the read. Okay, after read, status of the IO module, whether peripherals is ready or not. Okay, IO means peripherals is ready or not. CPU is checking the status. Okay, whether after checking, if error conditions occur, it will stop the program. Suppose the peripherals is doing, okay, so it's giving the peripherals doing some other, okay, work, it's not free, that the race, then okay, it will go to again read status, not ready, it will go to the read status, then again it will come to the check status. Okay, if it is ready, it will go to the read word. Okay, whatever the error it is coming, the peripheral device is okay, word from the IO module and write into the memory, okay, it will be transferred to the peripherals. If it is not done, it is going to the issue the read command to the IO module. Okay, if it is done, so over, yes, it will go to the next instructions. Understood? The main drawback of the programmable IO is CPU should wait whether it's peripheral, it's ready or not, whether CPU is, okay, executing one program, okay, it's having one result. Okay, peripheral should say, now please, I'm free now, send the data to my device, like that it has to tell. Okay, so that the time only will be able to, okay, send the data to the CPU to IO. So it is a waiting. If I keep on wait CPU, whether peripherals is ready or not, is keep on checking. That is the main drawback. To overcome this main drawback, okay, the drawback of the system, the main drawback of the program that's initiated IO was that the CPU has to monitor the units all the times when the program is executing. This the CPU stays in a program loop until the IO unit indicates that it's ready for the data transfer. This is a time consuming process and the CPU time is wasted a lot in keeping an eye executing a program. Okay, interrupt driven IO. Okay, it's overcome, okay, programmable IO drawback. We are going to the interrupt driven or interrupt initiated IO. Here, okay, the interrupt here normally the work is doing. Okay, the basic operation normally whatever work the CPU is doing, the own work, it not normally, it's continuing on problem. Whenever the peripheral is ready, I already said in the first slide, the peripherals is ready only, it will able to communicate the data. Same way here also. Okay, it's normally doing the interrupt. Whenever the peripherals is ready, it's ready, it will moving on to the peripherals are ready, it will moving on to the CPU. Okay, I'll issue the interrupt signal to the CPU. Now I'm ready, please give the data to me, okay, result to me, transfer result to me. The peripherals interrupt to the interrupt signal passing to the CPU. So issue the read command to IO module. Okay, so do, if it is doing some other works, do something work. Okay, it's read status of input module, whether it is doing or not, it will be sending the status. Whether it is doing some other work, the error conditions, okay, when occur, it stop the program. If it is ready, it will moving on to the peripheral device and passing on to the memory, whatever the CPU having the result. Once it's done, it will go to the next instruction. If it is not done, again issue the read command to the IO module. What is this interrupt? Okay, suppose here there, okay, in the programmed IO, you will not get the interrupt signal from the peripherals, but interrupt IO, you will get the peripheral will be giving the signal, interrupt signal to the CPU. Now I'm free, please send the result to my device. Like that, the interrupt signal is passing on to the CPU, okay, from the peripherals. So that is the difference between the interrupt basic of programmable IO and interrupt IO. Okay. So now you know what is meant by operation of programmable IO and operational programmable IO and interrupt IO. Okay, so through these sections we have seen what and okay, you know about interrupt and priority interrupt. In the so then the types of interrupts, you have two types, that is hardware interrupt and software interrupt. In the hardware method you have seen two example, that is daisy chaining in hardware interrupt and parallel priority hardware interrupt. Then in the modes of transfer, you have seen the programmable IO and interrupt driven IO. Then also what is meant by input output interface. Then major differences are input output interface. Then example of programmable IO. Then operation of programmable IO. Then interrupt driven IO. Hope you all understood in this section. I think so. So thank you for watching my online class. Thank you so much.